there, this is Gayatri Jayaraman. Welcome back to Sky Gazing, the communication channel of Shamah. I wanted to share with you today something that came up when I was speaking to actually my cousin. She had recently lost her father. And she said something very beautiful to me. She said, I don't want to be grief-stricken. I want to be happy. I want to play because that is the legacy that he taught me, right? And I was thinking about this one beautiful statement and how she chose to express her grief for her father, and how true it is. There is this one single thing that if we do it, anything in life, however great the loss, however redirected our plans must be, however far we are taken from our path, we will always find our way. And that one thing is to be as a child. It's such a beautiful concept. It's something that what the Buddhists call have child mind or have beginner's mind. Every meditation, we are recommended that we have the beginner's mind. What is the beginner's mind? The beginner's mind is that in which we have no assumption. We don't imagine that we know how this is going to go. I can have been meditating for 40 years or 400 years in previous lifetimes, and still when I approach this moment is completely new and fresh to me. It is filled with possibility. I'm willing to be surprised, awed, I'm open to the adventure of exploring this moment. I don't know what it's about, because this moment does not come laden with the baggage of the previous experience or knowledge or lack of knowledge. It is fresh. It is capable of opening itself up completely to me. And I am capable of engaging with it in a completely fresh, new, childlike way. What is this childlike way? The child mind exists because it is fearless. Its first qualities, it is completely fearless. You give a child something new. You may know it's very fragile. It may be, an ashtray or a glass kept on a table. He's going to pick it up and he's going to toss it in the air. He's going to see, does it bounce? Does it break? Does it make a sound when it falls? And he thinks it's very funny. He's laughing, he's clapping his hands, he's looking at your horrified face and saying, oh my God, what fun. Even the breaking of something that is a precious object is not something that is, deeply disturbing to him. He's just a child. For him, everything is fun. Breaking of something is fun. Exploring it is fun. Finding out what it does is fun. Finding out that that is not what it's supposed to do is also fun. It's only us as parents who, or adults in the room, we convey to the child a sense of shock and horror. Oh my God, you dropped that. Then they see our faces and they start crying. When they cut themselves and say, oh my God, you have pain. Then they start crying. Often children look at our faces and decide when to cry or not to cry. That is because the child is inherently fearless. Because there is that fearlessness, they come with a complete joy of exploring the moment. The moment is completely full to them. It's full of wonder, full of possibility, full of excitement, full of thrill. And therefore, from each moment that is given to them, they're capable of just extracting everything from it. They say, how can I play in this moment? How can I make the most of it? The third aspect is they don't take themselves or anything happening around them too seriously. It's not like I must use this moment, otherwise my life is a waste and I will lose my identity and I will not have a purpose, and what will people say of me, and will I be famous, will I be rich, will I be accomplished if I do this, and if I don't do this, will my image be spoiled? I have a reputation, I have honor. They don't get into all this. For them, it's like, I want it, sit in my underwear and draw faces on a cardboard box on the wall, then that's what I'm going to do. It gives me joy for half an hour. I'm going to do that. And when I get bored of that, I'm going to do the next thing. It's not like I did this before and therefore now I must become renowned as a painter of faces on cardboard boxes, and that is my reputation and that is my honor. You see, even when we do things, we take ourselves way too seriously. For instance, if you think about it, hobbies, right? These days, everything in this extremely commercialized, capitalized world, everything is being monetized. So, you'll take up, say, cross stitch or embroidery or painting or knitting and crochet, and you feel pressured that, oh, I must make something productive out of this, such that it can be sold on Instagram, on Etsy, or put it on, my Facebook. If I bake a cake, I must take orders. I must be able to monetize. But everything we do doesn't need to be monetized. Some things that we do, even just writing a poem, even just talking, even just, reading a book, it can just be for pleasure. It can be just whole in itself in that moment. It doesn't have to have a greater purpose, a greater identity, a reach, a connect, a following, a leadership, a pioneering movement. It doesn't. It's so much pressure, which is why you see people, even, how I put on my makeup must become an activity that gives me so many followers. If it gives you pleasure and you're able to do that, that's fine. But also beyond a point, we have lost that joy of just doing for the sake of doing, just enjoying the moment, being the beginner, being the child. Fourth is learning just how to play. What is it when you play? When you play, you don't have a specific end in mind. You don't feel like this has to become something that contributes to my identity. It's experimental, it's adventurous, it's seeing where this goes, and not attaching and getting involved with these huge, aspects, phrases, and words of identity with what we do. Just because I may make beautiful pots, or out of clay, or I might draw beautifully, I don't have to be a painter. I don't have to be an artist. I don't have to be a potter. I cook very well. I don't have to be a chef that hosts great dinner parties. I can just cook for my pleasure. I can just bake for my pleasure. And when I take that pressure off, that what I do begins to symbolize me, I stop trying to be things for other people. Right? My identity doesn't come from what you see me as. Therefore, I don't need to present you with all my successful hobbies. I don't need to be a dog person just because I love a dog. I love my dog. I may not love other people's dogs. Okay, it's like people who say about children. I love other people's children. I don't want children of my own. I don't feel the need to be a mother. That's fine. What you love, what you don't love, what you enjoy doing doesn't have to start defining you. Okay, and that is what allows you to live a life of play. It's experimenting in the sandbox. It's building a sandcastle and breaking it down. And that's the thing. When you play, you're allowed to make mistakes, because you're not attaching so much meaning to the things that you are doing. This is my identity, this is my honor, this is my reputation, this is my income, this is what I'm monetizing. Okay, it went wrong, I'll just break it down and redo it another way, or I'll just go do something else. What that does is it allows you to make mistakes, it allows you to experiment, it allows you to try new things, to be open to new things, to go in different directions without adding the pressure to yourself. And I do feel that one of the mistakes we make is we keep posting all the things we do on social media, Facebook, Instagram. And once we have done that, let's say I organize my kitchen very well and I take photographs and I put them on Instagram. I am now under tremendous pressure to constantly keep my kitchen beautifully organized. I become somebody who people ask for advice on how to organize their kitchens. I've become the organizer person. It has become my identity, and I have to keep living up to that. So let's say I'm going through a really bad patch and I really don't care if my kitchen is in a complete mess. I feel like I've failed. Do you see how we build that pressure upon ourselves? It's not necessary to attach ourselves to these identities. And if it is not necessary, then I don't need the pressure, which means I can make mistakes, which means I can allow, things to fall apart now and then. And it's okay. I'm not afraid of those mistakes or those detours. What that does in the end is it allows you to live a life that is fearless, because you're not living up to other people's expectations, because your identity is not attached to how people see you, because you're able to take joy in the things that genuinely give you joy, not as a social status, not as pressure, not as something that is to be monetized, but just because you spent 2 or 3 hours this afternoon doing it. I like listening to music. I don't have to have the most eclectic taste and the most beautifully curated playlist on Spotify with like 100,000 followers. I'm just happy spending an afternoon listening to 2 or 3 great albums, and I had a great time, and that is sufficient for me. So you see, we live with a lot of fear because we don't know how to play, and because we have forgotten how to play, rather, not that we don't know, we knew it when we were children, we just trained ourselves to think very deeply about what other people say about us. And because we have lost that capacity to just play with our lives, with these moments, with the opportunities, circumstances, what we feel like doing, we live lives of great fear. When you live a life of great fear, you're not actually enjoying anything that you're doing. And whatever you're doing starts to turn to somewhat dust in your mouth. It's like, you don't really enjoy it after a point. So, what is the way to sort of regain this pleasure of life? One is definitely retreat from anything that pressures you. It can be social media, it can be friendships, it can be a group in which you have a fixed identity. Every time this person comes, they're going to tell her, liven the situation, make it fun. She's the clown, she's the comic value, she's the life of the party. And sometimes you don't feel like being the life of the party. Distance yourself from anything that pressures you. If you read and post about the books that you read, and you're feeling very pressured to post very intellectual books or very latest, most recently released books, just withdraw. It doesn't have to matter at all. Read some old book, read a bunch of Archie's comics, read a bunch of Tinkle magazines. I don't know what you feel like reading. Read old Enid Blytons, just because you want something to read, you want to laugh, you want to read some PG Wodehouse, that's fine. Read Vogue magazines. How does it matter? Right? Withdraw yourself from the things that are pressuring you and just go back to each moment with beginner's mind. If I was afraid of nothing in this moment, if I had nothing to lose, if I could do whatever I wanted, what would I do? If there were no rules, I'm throwing out all rules, of course, that I should not harm myself or I should not harm others. If I throw out all other rules, what would I do in this moment with myself, with my life, for myself? And that is the way to sort of just regain the sense of childlike play about our lives. So give it a try and let me know how it has helped you in your life. Do share, like, subscribe, and leave comments below.